Second turn to Decision 2024. Just one Illinois Democratic congressman, Congressman Mike Quigley, has publicly said that President Biden should not be the Democratic nominee.
However, today, more health questions have surfaced as the New York Times reveals a Parkinson's expert has visited the White House. Our political reporter, Marianne Ahern, on the story. She's here now with the latest. Marianne.
Allison and Stephen, good evening. President Biden sent a letter to congressmen early today that he is staying in the race. That hasn't, though, stopped those who question if he's capable to serve another 4 years.
As tough as this is, the alternative is just not going to work.
Congressman Mike Quigley, the lone member of the Illinois delegation to say President Biden should drop out. Quigley says polling shows there's implications beyond the White House.
Every vote counts, and the top of the ticket on presidential years is absolutely critical. You're not going to win without a strong top of the ticket.
Congressman Danny Davis steadfastly supporting Biden. So is Congresswoman Jan Schakowsky.
We have Joe Biden and we have Kamala as the vice president of the United States. And let's go with that.
Hold on, wait. A shouting match at times during today's White House briefing after a New York Times report revealed a Parkinson expert had visited the White House 8 times in 8 months to meet with White House doctors.
Has the president been treated for Parkinson's? No. Is he being treated for Parkinson's? No, he's not. Is he taking medication for Parkinson's? No.
Congressman Jonathan Jackson supports Biden. His father, Jesse Jackson Sr., was diagnosed with Parkinson's 7 years ago. The congressman chooses not to speculate.
I wouldn't choose to speculate on that at this time. If it is the case, though, he gets all the available treatment.
As for Governor Pritzker, he is stepping up his role as a Democratic surrogate for the Biden-Harris ticket. This weekend, Pritzker speaking to Indiana Democrats, then to Ohio Democrats alongside Senator Cory Booker. On Capitol Hill tomorrow morning, House Democrats will meet behind closed doors.
Democracy isn't always orderly, but I do think there's a process, and if we respect that.
Of course, the Democratic National Convention just 6 weeks away. The Republicans, they are even sooner. 1 week from tonight, we'll be in Milwaukee.
President Biden is not only working to reassure Democrats he's up to the job, he is also persuading NATO leaders that he'll still be leading the free world for the next 4 years. NATO is celebrating its 75th anniversary with a conference in Washington this week. And here in Chicago this afternoon, Governor J.B. Pritzker says he is supporting Biden, adding that he would not engage in hypotheticals if Biden is out of the race. Our political reporter, Marianne Ahern, has been keeping track of all of this. She joins us now with more. Marianne?
Alex, soon to start here in Washington, D.C., President Biden will be speaking at that 75th anniversary for NATO. World leaders gathering there. As for his political future, Democrats from the House and the Senate huddled earlier today. There are varying reports for how solid Biden's support remains. Governor J.B. Pritzker was at the White House July 3rd when governors met with President Biden after his debate with Donald Trump.
Obviously, the president had a bad performance at a debate. That doesn't help anybody. He knows that. And what you have to do is stand up, say, I didn't do it well, which I think he said, and prove people wrong.
Pritzker says Biden is mentally and physically capable. Here is how Pritzker responded when asked if he would rule out running if Biden steps down.
What I can tell you is I'm not engaging in any hypotheticals. You can see that I'm all in for Joe Biden. On Capitol Hill, it's been a day of private meetings, members of the House and Senate conferring with the overall consensus Biden stays in the race.
I made clear publicly the day after the debate that I support President Joe Biden.
Mayor Brandon Johnson will participate tonight in a virtual call with President Biden as the White House adds more outreach, this time with Democratic mayors nationwide to hold off defectors.
I'm looking forward to doing everything that I can to ensure that he gets reelected.
Today's White House press briefing.
I think that he is more determined than ever to continue to get the job done.
And as Republicans gather next week in Milwaukee, Pritzker's political campaign is putting up billboards to remind RNC delegates of the Supreme Court Roe v. Wade ruling. Pritzker is also raising his profile with Indiana Democrats and Ohio Democrats this weekend.
I suppose you could say that about any of the surrogates who are traveling around the Midwest or the country, that they're introducing themselves in some way or another. But importantly, what we're doing is talking about why it's important to re-elect Joe Biden and Kamala Harris.
This afternoon, yes, all eyes on the president soon to speak here at this NATO speech, another test of his ability to juggle the demands as commander-in-chief. Thursday, he is set to lead a press conference. Marian?
I know all eyes will be there as well. Thanks so much, Marianne. First here at 4 o'clock, it is a pivotal day for President Biden. He's preparing to hold his first news conference since the presidential debate with the weight of his political future upon him.
A lot of eyes are going to be on this press conference. Political reporter Marianne Ahern is here with a closer look at these growing calls to get him out of the race. Marianne.
It has been not only a busy week, a busy day. It seems like a week in one day today. New polls are showing more than 56% of Americans saying President Biden should drop out. Chicago's Mayor Brandon Johnson, however, he offered a strong defense for the Biden-Harris team. But here we are, still talking about will he stay? And the Republican convention, it is just days away.
The Affordable Care Act.
Add one more. Illinois Democrat Congressman Brad Schneider says President Biden should step down as the nominee. Quote, the time has come to heroically pass the torch to a new generation. As well, NBC News is reporting 3 Biden officials directly involved in Biden's reelection say he needs to drop out. Meanwhile, Democratic Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries carefully chooses his words.
We have to articulate a vision for the future that meets the needs of the American people.
In Chicago today, those who are making the plans for the Democratic National Convention offered this update.
The city of Chicago is ready, period.
But when the conversation shifted to what if the DNC is a brokered convention, listen to the response.
What happens if at this convention in this city, if there is a difference in the candidate for whatever reason? How does that look?
Well, that's not something that we're planning on.
That was it. No further discussion.
Can we just ask a couple?
Convention planners evaded reporters, but Mayor Brandon Johnson offered a strong defense to keep Biden as the nominee.
You can go with the person who has shown up for the people of this country, investing in cities across America, or you can go with the person who does not believe in democracy.
Governor Pritzker caught on a hot microphone yesterday, his staff confirming he was referring to the current status of the presidential campaign.
I mean, we're just going to keep fighting. I don't know what to say. You know, I gotta do what we have to do. I don't like where we are, but.
Today, Pritzker said he was only referring to the polls, and he added, I don't like the fact we're behind, and said, I'm going to go campaign for him. However, the tension surrounding the Biden campaign, it is palpable, as witnessed by the DNC leaders today, sneaking out those doors, refusing to take questions. NBC is also reporting the Biden team this afternoon is quietly assessing polls that have Kamala Harris in a head-to-head matchup with Donald Trump. President Biden, he's expected to speak to reporters, taking questions at 5:30. We, of course, will bring that news conference to you whenever it happens.
And all eyes will be on it for sure. Yes. Thanks so much, Marianne.
Tonight, a crucial press conference for President Biden. Biden standing firm, saying he is staying in the race for president despite growing pressure to step aside.
We have team coverage tonight, beginning with NBC5 political reporter Marianne Ahern. Marianne?
Good evening. 2 weeks ago, alarms went off when President Biden had a poor debate performance. But tonight, the first solo press conference since November. It is clear Biden's not stepping down. There were gaffes, but there were also detailed answers.
I believe I'm the best qualified to govern.
However, tonight's press conference had a rough start with President Biden mixing up names.
I wouldn't have picked Vice President Trump to be vice president, so I think she was not qualified to be president.
That wasn't the only gaffe. Earlier at the NATO summit, here's how he introduced Ukraine's president.
Ladies and gentlemen, President Putin. President Putin. We're going to beat President Putin. President Zelensky.
Biden acknowledged those questioning whether he is fit for the office.
But I think it's important that I allay fears by let them see me out there.
As for whether he would take a new neurological exam.
I've taken 3 significant and intense neurological exams by a neurologist. In each case, as recently as February. And they say, I'm in good shape, okay?
Biden dismissed reports that he told the nation's governors he needed to go to bed earlier.
That's not true. Look, what I said was, instead of my every day starting at 7 and going to bed at midnight, it'd be smarter for me to pace myself a little more.
He was asked, would he step aside if the polls showed Kamala Harris faring better against Trump?
No, unless they came back and said, there's no way you can win. Me. No one's saying that. No poll says that.
Most agree the president was in his comfort zone tonight, and his stronger performance may calm those who have been panicking, at least for now.